All right, here we are. I wanted to look at XMR or Monero kind of quickly here because I think we're starting to see a move up, and I'm definitely not addicted to or even having a strong bias that it must move up, but I think we're starting to see it. So this is pretty darn impartial, okay? So this is a 4-hour chart. Let me go back to a 1 hour. No, let's go to a daily chart. Okay, daily chart starting here. As we can see, Monero had an amazing run up here in the daily chart. And of course, now we're retracing, which does make sense because that was kind of a big move. All right. But I'm going to fire up a Fibonacci sequence here. And these are always a matter of opinion where you start them, of course. But I'm going to start right here and, boom. So if we look at that, could I even go a little deeper than that? No, because let's stick with this. I kind of like this spot for a fib. Maybe you could go all the way down here, I guess. Let's really pull some time in here. Um, you could even go lower. Let's really get crazy. Okay, there we go. This is so let's look at that. All right. Now looking at Monero here, pulling a lot of time in here on the daily chart with the Fibonacci sequence, we can kind of look where this fits because it gets very sticky around the 618 golden pocket, and that definitely is a nice, powerful stick for the with a chart. So daily chart, where are we now? We really have hung out here. We came down to the 618 golden pocket. We spent some time in it. We wicked down to the bottom of that 618 golden pocket. I like seeing that. There's a little bit of stickiness here. You can see at the .5 Fibonacci level. So this is a nice sticky chart. I like the way this is looking. It makes sense. So now we're starting to see this move up. Now, because 618 is a very valid place to bounce. 786 is good as well, but it doesn't look like we're actually heading that way. I'm not seeing the bias go in that direction. Looking at the 200 moving average here, where I'm blinking that on and off, we're still below that. We're also below the 314 moving average. On these big time spans, I like looking at those too. When we break above that 200 moving average, we're going to be heading towards that .5. That's a good spot to be. Also, do note this. This is a big deal. Here's a fair value gap on the hourly chart, and you can see we're still playing within this thing. So my take on it is this. This is a good bounce spot, and I am kind of what my little game plan is here for a long on Monero, and I'm not going to get into it until I see some confirmation, but I want to see a move above this nice fair value gap, and I want to maybe it'll come down and test. But one way or the other, I want to see a nice confirmation. I want to break above this 200 moving average. And so that's kind of my little game plan there, is that I think we're going to see a nice move above the 314. When you're between the 314 and the 200, it's not a zone I like to really trade. I want to wait for that 200 to be above, to break above that. I want this price action to break above the 200 moving average. It's good that the 200 moving average is above the 314. And these are strictly moving averages I tend to use when we're looking at these big daily charts. But the Fibonacci sequence, it makes sense. This is a good bounce spot. We've given a lot back. There's a beautiful hourly fair value gap. Right above that fair value gap is the 200 moving average. So if we break above the fair value gap and the 200 moving average, maybe see a nice little retest of it, or at least let's say, break something like this. Let's get a little confirmation, like here. I'm sorry, that color, you don't really see it. There we go. Bunk. Yeah, like let's get a little like confirmation there, maybe, or maybe even a little higher. You could go like one more. You may be up here. Let's just get a little confirmation. Make sure we're really there, because I really think once we that the brave people are going to get in before the .5. But definitely, if you get a confirmation of this fair value gap, these little confirmation points here would be good. Definitely when we get above that .5, we come down, see a retrace, and then bounce off of it. But really, we're in this zone right here. Like would I long right now? I'm going to wait till we get above this fair value gap at least, and see some confirmation there. See how other indicators look. Maybe wait for a confirmation of getting above one of these other daily highs. That's definitely something important. I also like looking at this, do a little GAN box here, this hourly thing, hourly candle. We're above the .5 of that, and I like that. So we're above the 50% of that. So that's kind of bullish as well. So if we move down here to the 4-hour chart, let me clear out my all these drawings. Crud. Um, anyway, here on the 4-hour chart, you can see we are approaching the 200 and the 314 as well. Sometimes I'll even go down to like a 2-hour chart of all things. 2 hours, and I like 2-hour. I love seeing that break there. If we could break the above the 200 and the 314, especially the 200 would break above the 314, and we get price action to stay above that, that's kind of bullish to me. So it's all about, how much nerve you've got, but right now I'm feeling kind of bullish. I do like this. We are starting to see some, lower highs. That's kind of nice. Sorry, this is white, so you can't see it. But there we go. There's some nice lower highs. I'm liking that. You could almost get rather, daring and see an upwards channel there. But anyway, like I say, trade at your own risk, of course. This is a little bit crazy, but I'm just looking at it, and I think we're, like I say, I'm not trying to make it do anything. I'm not forcing it. I'm not trying to be Pollyannish or anything like that. It's going to do what it's going to do. But I like Monero, and I think a long could be cool. And it's not a crypto that I mind sitting in for a bit of a longer hold. I definitely could see this guy moving up here. We're in the right place. So let's just, I'll leave it at that. I don't want to babble too long, but let's see what happens. I'm watching for that daily cross of the 200 moving average, as well as that daily fair value gap to get broken here. Boom. There you are. Let me do like this, fair value gap. There you go. I mean, that fair value gap on the daily and that 200 moving average, that is just a nice setup. Got a lower high coming in now. I don't want to do the fib again, but like I say, we're bouncing out of that 618 golden pocket. Doesn't look like we're going to visit the 786. So feeling pretty powerful here. Let's just watch for that 200 moving average cross. Watch for a nice close, a body close on daily above the fair value gap and the 200 moving average for that point. Maybe look at one of these other daily highs and see if we get above that for confirmation if you want. But then we got a long way to go back to that all-time high again, and I think we might be moving that way. It depends on a lot of things, from DXY strength, what Bitcoin is doing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But if you like Monero, this is the time to really start paying attention. Give me a like on this, do a comment or something if people have interest in this. I'll follow it closer, and maybe we can get in for that perfect entry, which might even be now. If you want a really long, if you're like, I believe in it, you want a dollar cost average in more, or if you're crazy brave, this is maybe a time to get in. Not financial advice. Everyone take care.